Hello.
Good evening.
Welcome to Testimony Tuesday.
Welcome.
We are super excited to have you join with us on today. Hello. Welcome to Testimony Tuesday.
Yes. Like, check and share.
Like, tag, and share, please.
Yes.
Absolutely. Share this live with someone. Thank you for joining us. We are super excited to have you on tonight. We are super excited about our Testimony Tuesday on tonight.
Yes, we are.
We are excited about our special guests.
We are.
And so Testimony Tuesday is a platform where we just give God glory. We testify of his goodness. And so every person that comes on shares their story of what God either has done, is doing, or what they're believing God to do.
Yes.
And so this is a platform to let people know, and we say it every week, that God is still working miracles. He's still healing. He's still delivering. He's still making ways out of no ways. He's still providing.
He is.
And so this is a platform that gives him the glory in everything. No credit to us or anybody else, just to him.
Yes.
Hey, Miss Roslyn. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Miss Fatima. Thank you all for joining. Hello.
And if you know somebody, I talked to somebody the other day that said they don't have Facebook, so they was trying to see how they can tune in. Mm-hmm. So if you know somebody that's not connected to Facebook, let them know that they too can see Testimony Tuesday on YouTube.
Absolutely. It is under June and Ayana on YouTube, but they are able to see it. Hey, Miss Wendy. Hey, Miss Josie. Hello. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching. Yes. Testimony Tuesday is based off of
Revelations 10. Revelation 12, verses 10 through 11. And it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death."
And we know that there is power in the testimony.
Yes, so much.
And so power. We are super excited. To share our testimonies. We want to start off. There are so many families who are dealing with death right now and loss, the bereaved people. And so we want to pray for the Fields family as they have experienced loss. We want to pray for the Kearney family who has also experienced loss. I think the Williams family. Yeah. And there are so many more. I think the Cooper family. But there are so many more that have experienced losses. So we want to continue to pray for them as they embark on this journey called grief.
Yes.
And so we just want to let you all know that we are praying for you all. And we ask that you all continue to pray for these families who have suffered untimely deaths.
Yes. Absolutely. If there has ever been a praying time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is now. And so we don't want to prolong. The Mangum family, want to continue to lift them up. The Bird family, Lassiter family, continue to lift them up as well. But we want to jump right into you, Garland. So first of all, let me just say, Garland, let me introduce him first. So Garland is the son of Garland and Tanya Catlette. He was born and raised right here in Henderson, North Carolina. Elementary, high school, attended Henderson Collegiate, and oh my gosh. He was accepted to the prestigious Harvard University.
Wow.
And that was so big. It is so big. It still is just such an accomplishment because you're from right here in Henderson, North Carolina, where we get a rap of just being so bad and just gun violence and all of these things um, that they talk about, but it is such a positive thing to have someone, because the process to even be accepted, people don't even understand. It's not just filling out an application, sending in your scores, and then you're accepted. Like, there is so much more behind being able to go to an Ivy League school. And so I just remember Garland and his sister first, because his sister was in the class with Makai. And I just remember thinking, those are some smart kids. Like, it just used to blow my mind. So I come to an awards program or something, and that's the name we would hear. Top this, top that, top this. And so it was just such an amazing thing. And then I started working at the school, and then you were there. And just, you're such an amazing young man. And so I want you to just jump into your story of that experience, the whole experience, and where you are now. And you go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank God for being the orchestrator of this moment. I just want to also say good evening to everyone. I'm just so honored to be a part of this edition of Testimony Tuesday. When I think back over my life so far, I can certainly say that God has had his hand over my entire life.
Yes.
When I look back at it, being raised in Henderson, North Carolina, I was subjected to a lot of different statistics, as you mentioned before, just because I'm a black man from a low-income community where generational cycles, generational trauma oftentimes get the best of people and alter their trajectory in life. And I'm just so blessed to have gone to Harvard. Now I'm a former Harvard student, but now I'm embarking on my journey with God, and I'm just so blessed because I know it could have been very different for me.
Right.
So just to start off, as I stated earlier, I was born and raised in Henderson, North Carolina. I attended Peachtree Street Elementary School. A lot of memories there. Then from 4th to 12th grade, I attended Henderson Collegiate. And I can say, God has blessed me with two very capable parents, who've been very supportive for me all my years in life. As you said at the award shows, I was winning different awards and things like that, but I always remember my parents being there.
And that's something.
My mom is over there right now, and it just really means a lot to me. It's something that has really kept me grounded throughout the years, because coming up in Henderson, I wasn't always part of the crowd. It was challenging because I mentioned this in my written testimony. You guys can check that out on my page. But I existed outside of the norm in my community, and by that I mean I was very ambitious to overcome the statistics, the generational cycles that were thrown at me. As you mentioned, my dad's name is Garland. I'm the third, and my name alone carries that generational trauma, the generational struggle that Black people in America all experience and all subjected to when we're brought into this world. And and it's just a blessing to have not only come from here, then to go and attend, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. Fun fact, Harvard is actually the first college founded in the 13 colonies, dating back to the 1600s. So you can only imagine, the prestige and how highly acclaimed an institution like that is. And so I never would have imagined being able to attend such an institution. But even though it's Harvard wasn't always my dream school. So my testimony is, really deep because throughout my life I battled with insecurity. That insecurity stemmed from existing outside the norm. I know you guys remember your son playing for Henderson Collegiate varsity team. I was never able to make the basketball team, but I was the manager of the team. I have love and appreciation for those guys and everything we've done. from championship games to all the memories that we've had. And but at the time, there was something in me like that said I can't be like everyone else. I'm unable to fit in certain spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and having that in my mind at the time, it wasn't such a big deal for me. I thought I could just push through and get through everything like I've always done. But when I received before I started applying to college, my ultimate dream school was MIT. Um, my top three schools were MIT, Stanford, and Harvard at number three. I remember submitting the Harvard application. That was my first application. I submitted early, and at the time, I had no idea how I would get in. There's a lot, as you said earlier, there's a lot that goes on behind the process, behind the scenes. But Harvard was the first school I applied to because I had the shortest application. So, but later, a few months later, I received an acceptance decision, and in that moment, my whole life changed. But in that moment, I really I couldn't understand the true magnitude of that moment and everything that meant and what it would mean for me going forward. And yes, I was very proud of being able to be accepted, and I was so just so happy to be able to make my parents proud, to make I feel as though I made my community proud,
Mm-hmm.
and but something that kind of overtook me over the years was that insecurity, because, after getting into Harvard, everyone started calling me Mr. Harvard,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Harvard every time I come into the room. No doubt, I feel honored to, you know, be called such a name, but I feel as though that name it's just so crazy to me how the prestige and the 400 years of that institution kind of overtook my whole identity after I got into um, the school, and I feel as though people didn't know me for me, and I wanted to over time, over the course of time, I wanted to definitely change or be in control of my identity and how people perceive me, and so that's why now I'm currently not a student at Harvard. I following a leave of absence, and I decided to transfer. And I'm currently going through the application process right now. And I believe this is one of the most challenging decisions that I made, but I feel like it's been the most rewarding. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because now I feel as if I'm unafraid to, um, unafraid to make the decisions that I feel will be best for me, regardless of what anyone else may say or may think. Because going to Harvard, I was as I say from Henderson, but at Harvard there's so many other kids from much more affluent backgrounds, from private schools and in different states, from different countries. Uh, they've had more access to resources such as, for instance, I was majoring in computer science. Computer science. I still plan to major in computer science, but when it comes to computer science, there's a those students there had a lot of pre-exposure in comparison to mine, because in Henderson we didn't have the same resources, the same prior knowledge when it comes to coding on computers, and
Mm-hmm.
so going back earlier to my statement of insecurity, something I battled with, I was now, after getting accepted to Harvard, I was now inserted into a world where I'm completely, once again, different from everyone else in a sense, not just because of being a black man, but being a generational African American, um, studying at one of the highly acclaimed institutions in the world, where there's pretty much very few people like me, and being able to truly um, feel confident in myself and confident in what I'm capable of was a struggle, In Henderson, I was I was always known, I was always known for the exceptional high scores. I was always an exceptional student. But something that I was good at, I was no longer special in that anymore.
Mm.
Once I got to Harvard, because everyone's, the top student of their class there. Everyone has achieved many things academically, and now I felt as if I tied so much of my identity to what I could do in the classroom or what I could do on the test, and I really struggled with, or I really contemplated, who am I? Who am I? What can I truly do that can separate me from everyone else? And that was something I battled with, and also I battled with fear. When it comes to climbing the socioeconomic ladder, if you're on any ladder, right, the higher you get, uh, there's an increased fear of falling, and climbing the socioeconomic ladder in this world is very stressful, and a lot of college students out there are currently doing the same thing. They're trying to get their education, and don't get me wrong, I still want to get my education, but it's really stressful, as you mentioned earlier in my conversation with Mr. Lewis. There's students, unfortunately, taking their own lives just because of the stress. In the ages from 18 to 22, you're trying to figure out a lot of things in life, and in addition to that, you're trying to maintain your status in school while planning for your future, applying to jobs, and I think that's something that also hindered my my mental state at Harvard. Because as a computer science major, a lot of software engineers, they want to get an internship their summer after their first year. And I remember my first year, I was unaware of the whole process behind that. So I was unaware of a lot of things, and uh, I remember I applied to at least 10 different internships. I remember getting with those internships, you have to do technical assessments, basically assessing your skill with different coding languages and things of that sort. And I remember getting like multiple right. I still didn't receive an interview. And in my head, I'm like, God, why? I've came this far, but I was taking every loss so heavy to me. That first semester, it was decent, but it was the first time I've ever gotten a B, and in my mind, I'm like, it's the end of the world. I gotta work harder and things like that. So the following semester, I was working harder, and I was trying to work so hard to build my future when it comes to securing an internship and being like everyone else, being like the rest of my peers who are also at that time securing internships. And in that moment, I fell short again, and in that moment, I'm like, I'm about to fail. I'm about to lose everything I worked for, and in 2 Timothy, I believe it's chapter 1, verse 7, it reads, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind," right? And I believe that we as humans were by no means created to live in fear, right? Because I think of fear as it's a paralyzing parasite, and and I mean that fear, it drains, it latches onto you, right? And it drains you of your confidence, your faith, your motivation. And once you're drained of those things, you no longer have the motivation or will to um, strive confidently towards your goals. And I felt that at Harvard, because after not getting those internships, I remember the summer after, I felt like now I'm back at home doing nothing. Whereas on social media, I was able to see many of my peers, living their best lives, traveling to different countries, working at, different companies like Microsoft, Google, and things of that sort. I'm like, and I'm just sitting back here in Henderson, and in that moment, uh, the it was a culmination of generational trauma in me, and also in that moment, my fears, my anxiety, my uncertainty about what would happen next. I began, smoking weed, and that's something I feel like a lot of young black men nowadays are feel like society is something that society is telling them to do to get over their struggles, and get over whatever they're going through. And through my experience, I know that that's not the way, and I, all my life, I avoided, smoking weed. I would always say no, and when I got to that point, I'm like, I don't know what else to do, because all my life I heard people do this to get over what you're going through, and not many people talking about the Lord, and I feel that after what I've gone through, God sent me to Harvard because He already knew that I would be in this position, right? And now He's using me to inspire other people and to help bring other people to Him, because wow, God is a healer, He's a source of strength, and I just remember when I first read the gospel, I, I was just so inspired um, by the gospel and by Jesus Christ. And there's a lot of people throughout history, the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings, and the Jackie Robinson, so many outstanding people, but no one compares to what Jesus did.
Right.
No one compares. Jesus, he paid the ultimate price. If you read, if you just sit down and take the chance to read Luke, Mark, Matthew, and John, you'll see that Jesus, he embodied, he is the epitome of what every human being should be. He embodies, and he taught peace, love, and ultimately being the bigger person. I have a philosophy of, if everyone took the initiative to be the bigger person, no one would need to be the bigger person. I think Jesus, he was the biggest person, because uh, although he did nothing wrong to other people, although he he showed love, um, kindness everywhere he went, uh, people persecuted him. Although he was the son of God, people persecuted him because they they haven't seen anyone like him before, right? And when he paid the ultimate price on the he paid the ultimate price on the cross for us, and not only for us, but for the people who persecuted him. I think that's just so powerful. And also, he taught forgiveness. And I think forgiveness is something so key it's something key for people in Henderson, let alone a lot of people in the United States, or across the world, to really understand and to learn how to forgive, because so many things can be solved if we just forgive one another. Um, there's so much violence going on nowadays, so much unnecessary hate, but being able to forgive one another, even though we might not be in the wrong, is something which is also something that Jesus also taught. Just having that strength and strength to do that can change a lot of things. And that's why I know that Jesus is the Lord and Savior, because if everyone made the conscious effort to resemble Jesus, uh, but by any capacity, we would be living in a much different world today. And uh, yeah, and I just thank Jesus and I thank God for helping me find the strength in myself and helping me find confidence. You know, because at Harvard, there's like I said, there's so many people who I feel as though I can't identify with. There's a lot of times I walk into spaces, I feel as if people are looking down, in a patronizing way upon me, and but now I know that God, He is my strength, He is my backbone, and no matter wherever I go, He's always with me, and He saw my affliction and realized my affliction, and He was ready right when I came to Him, and I feel as if people just knew the kind of Heavenly Father that's waiting on them, just to come to Him and to throw your anxiety, your worries onto Him. I think people will see a lot of changes in their life because I have seen a lot of changes in my life. But that doesn't go to say that the walk is easy.
Right.
Right. The walk is, the walk with God, is nowhere near easy. Because I remember when I began my walk, uh, you're introduced to God's plan, but you can't see. You can only see so far. You can only see the moment, right? And people must realize that there's your plan and there's God's plan, right? But you can only grasp God's plan if you come to Him. And God's plan will beat your plan every time.
Every time.
Every time. Because trust me, if it was in my plan, I would still be working to get that cherry on top degree from Harvard, And if it was up to me, if it was my plan, I wouldn't be here right now doing this because the former me wouldn't have the strength, wouldn't have the courage. And I feel as though God's plan is such is so powerful because people don't even know what's ahead in life. And that's something we only know the moment, right? And I feel like a lot of times people get trapped into working towards their future, but anything is subject to change in an instant, the next second, the next millisecond. It's written that even heaven and earth will pass away. Even heaven and earth will change, but the one thing that won't change is the word of God.
That's right.
And people must realize that. And in that time, when I first came to Him, I was so caught up with what people thought of me or what other people perceived of me and what they thought was best for me, And in my head, there was something telling me to take a leave of absence, take a break from school, and in my mind, it was failure in my eyes at that time. But in that moment, I began overcoming the fear of losing it all, and that's something I feel like I've overcame now that I announced that I was transferring, because now I'm fully opening my arms to and embracing whatever God has for me. And I feel like that's overcoming any fear that you have is something that you must be willing to do when you come to God, because He is able to change the whole trajectory of your life if you come to Him. And I'm just so thankful because things could have been even worse for me. Even if I continued at Harvard, I would have, I following my leave of absence. I had two choices to either go back or to say I'm transferring. And I know if I went back, I would still have the underlying fear of not making it or not being a good example of what a Harvard student is. But I would have not truly been able to walk fully into what and who Garland is, and that's something that matters to me, going forward. And I'm just so thankful to have this opportunity on Testimony Tuesday, and relay my experiences in order to hopefully help people who's going through, because people can be going through anything at this time, especially the people in my generation. Because a lot of times I realize social media and things of that sort, kind of uh, it can bring down someone's self-esteem and how they view themselves, and we oftentimes compare ourselves to other people. And people must realize that God all created us individually, wonderfully, and we all have have a designated path that we must follow. Even though we might be traveling on the same road, we have our own destination, at the end of the night. And um, that's so important to realize because um, you can't compare what you're going through right now in this moment or compare yourself to other successes, because you don't know the full story of what God has for you. Right?
It's true.
And there's a lot in life to learn. There's a lot in life to experience. And trust me, it will come. It will come in due time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It will come in due time, and knowing that, you know, that's something that encouraged me to make my decision and to transfer from Harvard. And I can honestly say that's something that no one has ever really thought of before. After being accepted into a highly acclaimed institution in America, and a lot of people will be. Yeah, I realized I was very fortunate, but a lot of people feel trapped. Because my time, like in my time, I felt trapped. But no one I could think of ever thought of following the Lord. You know, and embarking on their journey, even if it meant leaving Harvard. And I'm just so honored um, to be on this journey specifically. And I also just want to, hopefully speak to the other young black men um, in America because a lot of times I feel like there's a pressure on young men to either, be a ball player, things of that sort because, a lot of people, we've seen a lot of success in those areas. And don't get me wrong, if that's your dream, go for it, but I want to hopefully inspire anyone who feels inspired to pursue their dreams in life, no matter what it may be, whether that's getting a college degree or whether it's that is, going to trade school, doing anything that you feel will allow you to be the individual that you're meant to be. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are scared to walk that road that's traveled, because a lot of times when you're following behind other people, you're hiding behind their shadow. But a lot of people, trust me, it's daunting to, walk on that narrow path with God and, put your full trust in Him. But once you do, you're separating. You're finally allowing yourself to walk on that path that God has designated only for you. And that's currently uh, what I'm doing now. And I also just want to say that. Uh, also, just want to say that I know God is. I know God. He's allowed me to overcome a lot, and I feel as though we should start being vulnerable. We should start holding ourselves accountable and not being afraid to be vulnerable with each other.
Right.
Because I feel like there's a lot of that going on right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
And being vulnerable with one another is the only way that we as a black community can truly grow and flourish because once we start truly loving one another, supporting one another, no matter the differences in between, we can truly kind of accomplish, great things as a community. And I know that we haven't, and due to that, I know that we haven't yet experienced the true potential of human life, because I know that we as human beings, we seek out love and we all want to feel love, but it's so simple. It can be so simple as just loving each other, no matter uh, without any conditions involved. And once again, I got that idea or that revelation just from reading the gospel and about and from Jesus' teachings to his disciples. And so I just so glad to be here today and to serve as an inspiration to anyone who may be going through troublesome times, things such as addiction, insecurity. And I pray that no matter what you're going through, you can overcome and see the light that's in God, that's in the gospel. And I pray that you just keep keep moving forward, because at times it might feel like there's no tomorrow, or there's no whatever. And but being able to keep moving forward will allow you to fully attain what's meant for you and the best of what's to come. So
That is so good,
Yes.
God.
Absolutely.
I'm amazed.
Yes.
I am.
I am.
I'm happy for you. And I am so glad that you're sharing your story and your journey, because there are so many who start out on the school path, and for whatever reason, they may have to stop, or they may, change their mind, or, whatever the case may be. And they walk in shame, or, and it can be overwhelming. And when June was talking about all of the students at, NC State that are, it's happening so much. There's so many kids taking their lives because of the pressure. And so to hear you um, not allow it to take you down, and to press into God, which is the most amazing thing out of it all. I often tell people we measure success by what we gain. So whether we have money or houses or car, all of that means success to people. But the Bible says, what is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? And so when I think about things like that, and when I accepted Christ, even for myself, as I grow older, I feel like I have the best part. Like, it doesn't matter if I don't have money or a car or a house. None of that matters in the grand scheme of things. But do I have Christ? And so I think that you have chosen the best part.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, I am, you know, I am honored, to even have you, or to look at you as being a representative from my hometown. It's just an honor. And one thing I want you to understand, the Bible declares that many are the plans of a man's heart, but it's the purpose of God that's going to prevail. So the purpose of God that's on your life, it's going to come to pass, whether it's at Harvard, whether it's at wherever.
yes,
The purpose of
absolutely.
God, and you're on the right track, because if you seek God, seek Him first, the kingdom of heaven and His righteousness, and all these other things should be added unto you. So you're in the right vein. And like, again, the Word of God says, "I know the plans that I have for you." You know, um, plans of thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you hope and a future, and to bring you to an expected end. So God has an expected end for Garland and Catlette the third. I'm the third too, by the way. But yeah. So I'm extremely proud of you, man. To be honest with you, all the times I saw him at basketball games, I used to wonder, like, man, do he talk?
Because he was so quiet.
Always quiet. All I ever saw was humility, and I saw, I saw dedication. But when as I was listening to you, you were saying that the situation about the basketball team or whatever. But at the end of the day, you were able to achieve something that I won't say that the others did. Maybe I don't know, but your accomplishments, man, they are like just far few and in between. And you are an amazing individual. Your parents did a great job.
Absolutely.
With you and your sister.
Sisters.
Sisters. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're excited. We're excited about your journey.
And I love your transparency.
Yes.
And so sometimes when things don't always turn out the way we plan for them to, and then we choose a road that we really shouldn't choose. And so when you talked about even smoking weed and, all of those things, I thought that was so good because there are so many that are battling things, and weed could be their drug of choice, food could be their drug of choice. There are so many things that people turn to. It could be alcohol, it could be pills, and nobody will talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is why the mental health of people seems to be declining. And because nobody wants to talk about it, especially in the Black community. So, seeing a therapist and things like that, it's just so taboo. So when I hear you talk about it and your transparency is so amazing. And actually, I often joke about this because June doesn't have a Facebook page, but he does. And so he is on my page,
I don't have one on my own,
but he stays on my page. And so he read your testimony. And after he read it, he called me or maybe sent it to me. I don't even know. But he said, you got to read this. Like, this is good. And I read it and I thought,
yeah, I think the world needs to read that.
absolutely. Which is why I said, we're going to call him. We're going to call him.
Yeah.
But it was so good. It was so good and such an inspiration. Thank you for sharing your story. And I pray that some young person or an older person, it doesn't even have to be young, that may be struggling in an area of their life can hear this and just be open and honest enough to say, you know what, I have tried all else. Let me try Jesus. Because he truly is the one that can change it and turn it around. And I just submit to you that it's not proper English, I guess, but you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
Because it seemed that Harvard will open the door, but Harvard can't open a door like God can open one. And I'm telling you, the path that you're on is going to have so many open doors because you chose the right one to open the door for you. So I am excited about your future. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. I am super, super excited.
And I just want to add, in your quest to your next endeavors, we together, we pray that the blessings of the Lord will make you rich and add no sorrow.
Absolutely.
And that, that the good hand of the Lord rests heavy upon your life.
Absolutely.
So walk your walk and keep God first. And I promise you it's going to be okay.
Yep. Miss Olivia said the best is yet to come.
Yes.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you all so much for watching.
Yes.
We believe that too, that the best is yet to come for this young man. Thank you all. You have to go back and read the comments because they're popping up and there's so many people commenting and saying different things. You'll have to go back and read them, but to God be the glory. Thank you. I'm excited to hear about your next. So maybe we'll have a Garland Catlette part 2. So you can just share what the next is and what God is doing. Because I'm telling you, he is up to some stuff, guys. And so I am super excited. Thank you, Garland. Thank you. Guys, we want you to join us again next week. We want to thank you for watching us on tonight. Get ready for Testimony Tuesday live, November the 14th, 7 o'clock, right here. You have to be here, though. You have to come.
You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. We have Pastor Joanne Bird, who is going to be here with us. I am so excited.
I am too.
And so come, you dress, you just come as you are. It does not matter. Just come. We are excited to have Pastor Bird to come and share.
Yes.
And so I believe in God for some things on that night. So that is Tuesday, November the 14th. Testimony Tuesday will be live here. And I think that is it. Join us next week. Also, the small business, how to start your small business or nonprofit. You don't want to miss that. Registration is going live on tomorrow. We have limited space, so you want to register as soon as possible. And that's October the 14th from 10 to 12. Very good information. So if you want to know how to start your business, make it legal, all of that stuff, we're going to have people here that can help you. We even have someone that's going to share some great information. So you don't want to miss that. November the 14th, I already told the testimony. It's November the 11th. Our cheerleading competition. Any squads that would like to participate, please share the flyer with them. And December the 9th is our gala. So I think I've done everything in a nutshell. To God be the glory. Thank you, Garland. What a powerful testimony. Join us again next week, guys. Thank you all for watching. Good night.